Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is Eric with SweetSpotDFS, and welcome to a review for the 2022 Farmers Insurance Open. I know this is coming out a little late, it being Sunday night when the tournament ended on a Saturday, but I wasn't able to get a pod out yesterday because my family was able to finally celebrate Christmas together. A lot of COVID had been going around, so we weren't able to actually celebrate it until yesterday. So now here I am Sunday night doing this pod. And in the spirit of giving, we're going to run a giveaway today. So be on the lookout for that. That should be happening here shortly. I just want to remind everyone that the review video is all about looking at the SweetSpot process, seeing what went right and what did not. Timestamps are in the description below. So if you want to skip around, you can find them there, or you can find them on YouTube's progress bar. But let's run that giveaway right now. Let me put it on the screen. So we have this giveaway. We have all of these people, all of these entries. So all of you guys, thank you for participating week in and week out. But we have all of these entries here. And once I hit yes here, I will get a random winner right there. I do hold the past winners here, so you can see the last one. The last one we had a subscriber was Gabriel Brown. Gabriel's one of those that definitely participates quite a bit. So let's see who our winner of $20. Yeah, let me put that up there. I forgot. The giveaway this week, $20. So let's go ahead. Let's run that. Let's see who is our winner. Shot Like Harden. He's another person who participates all the time on all of my videos. So Shot Like Harden, you win $20. Please email me or message me on Twitter, Instagram, either of those places, and we can figure out how to send you that 20 bucks. But you are a winner of $20. And for all of you out there that want a chance at this giveaway, we just need to hit our goal. I do have next week's goal that's coming up. We just got to hit our goal of 285 subscribers. And you also need to be subscribed. And then just if you want entries into this giveaway, all you have to do is leave them in the comment section and you'll get a free entry every single week. I always ask you guys on how you can participate. So put Shot Like Harden. You, sir, are a winner. There we go. Now what happens here is, unfortunately, all of these get, all of these get removed and we start over. So now we'll start over because we did declare a winner. Again, if you guys want entries, just share any of my videos on Twitter, any of my preview, strategy, even prize picks videos. You share all of those. Well, you get a total of one entry. It doesn't matter which one you share of those, but you'll get one additional entry. And then comment on each of those videos if you are subscribed, and you'll get a free entry into this giveaway. So again, super simple. It's my way to reward you guys for participating. With that being said, let's just go ahead. Let's get into this thing. We're going to start with, how about a little recap of the tournament? Let me scroll up here. Luke List is your winner. He actually was in a playoff with Will Zalatoris. It only lasted one hole, hole 18, where Luke made a birdie. Zalatoris was not able to. And Luke List gets his first victory on tour. He's been a favorite, a DFS favorite amongst all of us. I should say the many, not everyone. You don't want to make definitives, but for most of us, Luke List is a great player. Bombs it off the tee. Very good iron player. Just happens to be a shaky putter, but obviously good enough this week to win. Just edges out another good ball striker who's kind of shaky with his putting in Will Zalatoris. And you can see they beat John Rahm, Cameron Tringali, and Jason Day all by one stroke. Rahm unfortunately parred the last hole, which is a par 5. Kind of easy to birdie for most of these golfers, but he drove it into the bunker off of the tee, and then he had to lay up. Didn't really hit a really good shot, left himself like a 12-foot putt that he just couldn't make. So he was knocking, or he was close, let's put it that way. And a bunch of guys tied for 6. Joaquin Neiman, who was one of those guys we talked about in our strategy video. He was one of my favorites to pair with Jon Rahm, as was Will Zalatoris. I mean, they're all really good values. Rose was another guy that showed up. Interestingly enough, Pat Perez showed up. I don't know what happened to him earlier this year. I knew he withdrew from a couple tournaments, so I don't know if those were injury related or what have you. But yeah, interesting to see Pat Perez up there, and then Sung J M and Aaron Rai. Aaron Rai was a 6K golfer this week, and he'd been playing pretty good golf over the last couple weeks. He might be someone to keep your eye on. But yeah, we're not going to talk about the rest of them. Let's take a look at our it's the $8 GPP versus the optimal lineup, or optimal lineup versus the $8 GPP. All of the golfers that you see, actually, let me sort it back out by this. All the golfers with a little black tick mark, they are a part of the optimal lineup. The $8 GPP winning lineup are all the golfers that are highlighted in blue. So that GPP winning lineup scored 630.5 points. It used up all $50,000 of the salary, and it consisted of Luke List, Will Zalatoris, Jon Rahm, Jason Day, Cameron Tringali. 5 guys inside the top 3. That is pretty impressive. Very good. However, they paired him up with JJ Spawn, which was kind of a DFS darling this week. You know, a California guy who hadn't been playing very good golf. You know, I mean, I guess last week was okay, but over the last year or two, I think he also had like a major medical. There were a lot of things going on with JJ Spawn. A DFS darling from like 3 or 4 years ago, but just not until recently was kind of, you know, a non-factor in any of the tournaments. So not a bad pick. 34th place, 76.5 points. There was definitely better picks like Aaron Rai, and even Austin Smotherman, which was not a pick I would have gotten onto. I mean, he's flat 6K. Taylor Montgomery would have been a good choice, 6,200. Same with Taylor Pendrith. Definitely would have scored more points. Would have got closer to the optimal, which the optimal scored 661 flat points. So 630.5 versus 661, basically 30-point difference. And your optimal had Luke List, Will Zalatoris, Jon Rahm, Jason Day, Aaron Rai, and Pat Perez. It used up $49,000 of the salary, which when we look at SweetSpot, you know, parameters, conditionals, it's $49,000 and greater. So this actually does reach that realistic optimal that we usually talk about week in and week out, but just barely. But if you wanted to switch, remember we got to get all 10 of our golfers inside the top 10, and it has to beat the GPP winning lineup. Well, obviously we're going to grab these 4 golfers. We can grab Aaron Rai if we want. This would leave us with, we could do anyone that's $7,500 and above. Well, that's not going to quite work. What if we want Pat Perez, Justin Rose? Yeah, that's $49,900. So you'd still have to use Pat Perez. If you didn't want Justin Rose, you can go with Cameron Tringali. That's a better pick anyways. That's $49,600. So we still would need Pat Perez at $6,500. But yeah, we got all 6 of the golfers in the optimal lineup. All 6 of them in the optimal lineup, finished inside the top 10. We don't need to do a sweet spot optimal or a realistic optimal. That is how it shakes out. Before we try to figure out, you know, using the sweet spot conditionals to build a lineup to see if we can get to the optimal lineup, let's first look at the sweet spot rank. You know what I'm going to do? I forgot to do this. Let me just highlight these colors to make them a little easier to see. I knew there was something I had forgotten to do, but this shouldn't take too much time. Everybody else gets the dark red. All right, so we're gonna sort by the sweet spot rank. This is just how, you know, my scoring model, how it ranked the golfers, whoever had the highest score down. What I usually want to see week in and week out is 4 golfers in the optimal lineup. within the top 20 of the rankings. So Corey Connors on up. Only 2 golfers in the optimal. We had plenty of top 20 finishes. Not a lot of missed cuts. There were quite a bit, but not terrible. Like Jordan Spieth, Sam Burns, Tony Finau, Brooks Koepka, Bryson DeChambeau, and Corey Connors. They all missed the cut. That's 6. We had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, that top 20. So when it comes to the ranking, not terrible, but yeah, it's not exactly what we want. Let me do one more thing. So from here, what I want to do is look at our marquee tee times. If you remember, we usually want, in our marquee tee times, we want to find at least 2 golfers that fit in the optimal lineup. So what we're going to first do, actually, what you first see, 3 golfers in the optimal that were not in the marquee tee time. The marquee tee time is going to have dark green colors. So we're going to filter out by those colors. And we had 2 golfers in the optimal lineup. So again, usually this is what we see week in and week out. As long as we have 6 marquee tee times or tee time pairings, we're going to find 2 golfers in the optimal lineup. This week, it just happened to be Jon Rahm and Jason Day. Now, I went a lot of Jon Rahm, Joaquin Niemann. Let's see, who else did I do? So Rahm, Niemann. Had a few Max Homa lineups, unfortunately. I went pretty spread with a lot of my 10Ks, but Rahm got more. Like, I think Rahm, I rostered in 27% of my lineups, and then the rest of them had like just under 20 something. Obviously, that equals up to 100, but I did pair Jon Rahm with some of the other 10K golfers. So ownerships were whatever. I didn't play a lot of Finau. I don't know. I don't need to go through what I did and didn't do, but Rahm and Day were in the optimal lineup. That's good because we do want to find at least 2, and usually we do see that. Like, I think all but 3 tournaments, we have not seen at least 2 golfers from the marquee tee times in the optimal lineup. So good to see once again, continues the trend that we see week in and week out. Let's move on. So from here, what I want to do is, I would normally look at the grass stats, but I just, oh yeah, we can, that's fine. Let's look at the grass stats. Just to kind of review and see how well it did. The rest of the stats are going to be talked about in the buckets that we'll be talking about shortly. Your overall POA guy, Jon Rahm and Jason Day, like some of your top 20s, they did finish inside the optimal lineup. We also had some 6th place finishes down here. So we had 4 golfers inside the top 20 with some really good finishes. So if you went by this grass stat, you weren't punished. It rewarded you quite a bit, not a lot. You only had 2 golfers in the optimal lineup. But yeah, it didn't really hurt you. You had a lot of top 20s, not a lot of missed cuts like we were talking about. But here we go. Jon Rahm, Jason Day, they're just going to keep showing up. How about last year's post splits? We actually, again, have Rahm and Day. And then you fit in Tringali, which was in the GPP winning lineup. Not terrible. Again, a lot of top 20s, very few missed cuts. So the post stat obviously was discussed in full by a lot of people, not only in the industry, but, on the broadcast, that kind of stuff. Definitely a skill to have. If you're good on POA, definitely consider those golfers going forward. But from here, let's look into the bucket system. How well did the bucket system do? We'll go ahead, sort this out, and we're going to be looking at the top 10 golfers anyways. So why don't we just go ahead and do that? I'm going to bring in the 11th place golfers as well. So we go to the summary, and I'm not going to put a filter on this. All of these lime green cells that I've highlighted, these are if the bucket hit. And we're really only looking at these 2 columns. You can certainly look at the optimal lineup columns, but we're going to be looking at the projections that I had in place. And if we scroll down, we're going to see 1, 2 didn't hit, and that's it. So out of 36 total buckets, only 2 buckets did not hit with projections. and that's because there were 2 last week 5s inside the top 10 that also ended up being in the optimal lineup. So that's why this one is highlighted. We had a projection from 0 to 1, and then the last week 1s that did not plays, we only had 1 golfer, I believe, in the top 10 that was not in the optimal lineup. So we'll talk about that when we look here, but these were the only 2 buckets, last week 5s and course history, or I'm sorry, last week 1s. So all in the last week bucket, which is very interesting. These projections take into account the success rate, the amount of golfers in that bucket this year, and then the strength of field to give it like a quality, like how good is that bucket. And I use the strength of field metric, like golfers and their official world golf rank, or just their, I forget what they call it on the OWGR, but it's the strength, it's what makes up the strength of field. How many points from this bucket goes towards strength of field, and then that's what goes in the projections. So yeah, we were good. We said you needed a 10K golfer. One was in the optimal lineup. That was John Rahm. I also said you needed a 7K golfer. There were 4 of them that finished inside the top 10, and also inside the optimal lineup. So, or wait, I don't think so. I may have mishighlighted that. Let's see. We have 1, 2, 3 7K golfers inside the optimal lineup. So yeah, that one should definitely be green. Let me go ahead and highlight that one green. That one was correct. All right, so with all this being said, let's see if we can actually build a lineup following these projections, even the ones that I got wrong, to beat the GPP winning lineup. That's kind of my whole purpose. That's how the sweet spot process works. So let's see if we can do it. I don't want to keep going back and forth. Let's just start really easy. We want a 10K golfer. We know we need one. So John Rahm is our guy, right? So let's go. How do we make this easier? We'll go in the value portion. So John Rahm, he's who we're leading off with. So as we look, John belongs to strokes gained 1. He belongs to course history 3, recent form 2, last year 1, and last week 2. So when we go back to the summary, strokes gained 1 is one of them. We want somewhere between 1 to 2. So let's see, how do I get this? I should make it a way. I should probably put something in here so during the review videos we can make this somewhat easy. So how about this? I don't know an easy way to do this without messing up what I already have. Let's just try to remember, okay? So we do cover the strokes gained 1. Got that one because we want a minimum of at least 1. He was a course history 3. He was a course history 3, recent form 2. So we go up to course history 3. We only want 0 to 1, so we can cross that one off and say we have that one. Course history 3. Recent form 2. He's here. We want multiple of them, so we'll continue to look there. Last week 1, he was here. No, he played last week. What were we talking about? Oh, last year 1. He's a last year 1, so we want more of those. And then he was a last week 2, which we want somewhere between 1 to 2. So we'll keep that in mind. So with that being said, since we want additional last year 1s, let's go find one that would work with everything. I mean, why don't we just grab the winner in Luke List? So let me just highlight that. We'll highlight this. So Luke List, he's a last year 1 and a last week 4. So last week 1, now we have 2. We got our minimum covered. That's good. Last week 3 is what he is because he missed the cut last week, which we did talk about. That's why the bucket system is great. You do want golfers who missed the cut. We got that. So that's 0 to 2. Or did I not do that one right? No, I didn't do that one right. He's a last week 4. So he finished 20th to 40th place. And we want 0 to 2 there. Again, same thing applies. Recent form 3 and course history 1. So recent form 3. We wanted multiples of these, so it's good. Man, I just have a bad memory. Course history 1. And we want multiple of those. So it's good to have another course history. Let's keep that one in our mental banks because we're going to need more of those. But salary, he's there. We need multiple of those, but we did hit our minimum. And then he was a strokes gained 3, which we want somewhere between 1 to 4. So we can grab a few more there. So we want the same course history bucket, right? That was the one that was pretty large. Course history 1, 2 to 5. So Will Zalatoris is obviously going to be one of them. So we'll cover Will Zalatoris. We'll continue going through this. I was like, man, this is taking forever. I just want to quit doing it. But course history 1, recent form 2. You know what? How about this? Did our optimal lineup actually find all that stuff? No, I don't think so. Yeah, okay. I know what I'm going to do from future. I know how I'm going to do this future. I'm just going to have a column here where I'm going to select golfers from, and we're going to see if they fit in the bucket. In the buckets. I don't want to keep going back and forth. Like, this is going to take forever, and it's probably not as enjoyable on your guys' end. So, but I think what I would do is it would be Rom, Zalatoris, and List. They would all, you know, we would all go that route. I think what we did in the past is we just looked at the anchor buckets, right? Yeah, that's what we did. We just went with the anchor buckets where we needed at least one and selected from there. Okay. Okay, we'll do that really quickly. And we're going to start with the top bucket. So we want these 3 guys. Those are all of our last week ones. You know, you want 2 to 4. But we had 3 in the optimal, so I guess we can just stick with the guys that we have there. I know we want another 7K golfer, but let's see, last year 2. Let's grab one of those guys. Jason Day, there's another 7K golfer. So we got Jason Day covered. Last year 3 are the did not plays. We want somewhere between 1 to 3, so let's take a look at our last year 3s. I mean, I like Neiman. And then there's Montgomery down here as well. Why don't we pull in Montgomery? How many points did he end up scoring? 89.5. Not really good enough. Oh, we want all top 10s, so let's just try to stick with that. I guess we know we need Pat Perez in order to make anything work, but I don't know. I mean, let's see, does this work? We went here, these 3 and him. That's 49,700. Let's see if this ends up working out. So we do have the 1s, we have the 2, we have the 3. It all works with our buckets when it comes to the last year buckets. Last week bucket, let's see, 2, 3, 1. And it looks like, well, last week 1s, we want at least 2. And we have Joaquin Neiman, and that's it. So if it's not Pat Perez, we have to come down to Taylor Montgomery, which would work, right? We'd still have another last week 1, and that would help. And we're only sacrificing $300, which still we would be in the optimal. Yeah, it doesn't really quite work out the way we want it to. So just following the anchor buckets, it's not possible. I mean, obviously we just saw with this one, it's not possible because we didn't hit there. That's the only one that didn't hit. So we can't quite make that optimal lineup. But just out of curiosity, I'm pretty sure we would if we had Taylor Montgomery in our lineup. So let's go ahead and see how many points that would have scored. So we want that, Neiman, Day, and these three, 638.5. We would have beat the GPP lineup by 7 points. We finally got there. 25 minutes, or I think that was like a 7-minute segment. I'm pretty sure we hit all the other buckets that go with this. And what I'm going to do next time is I will create another column in that summary bucket, or perhaps what I'll do is I'll just create another spreadsheet and it will pull from maybe this one to see which buckets we actually hit. I'll figure something out. It'll be much smoother, much simpler to just try to check. But yeah, I think we could have got close. Unfortunately, 11th place is not a top 10 finish, so that's not quite the sweet spot optimal. Like, we wouldn't be able to do that. Something to consider going forward, though. There has to be some kind of fail safe, because this being 2.74, it's very high, but I mean, our strength of field was very high in it. I mean, how many good golfers were in that bucket? Again, these are all golfers who did not play last week. So by strength of field, oh sure, Dustin, JT, Xander, Bryson. Isn't that crazy that none of those guys finished inside the top 10? Yeah, and Burns, Koepka, Billy was one off of finishing inside the top 10. Joaquin was one off from finishing. Oh no, he did finish. Sorry, he was inside the top 10. Berger could have. Leishman could have. Palmer could have. Couple strikeouts, unfortunately. That's crazy that bucket didn't hit. Such a strong strength of field. Well, no, never mind. I was gonna say, didn't someone go in the water and that kind of created that, a couple weird things that happened? I don't know. I'm not gonna spend any more time. So we couldn't follow the exact sweet spot conditionals because we couldn't get everybody inside the top 10. But if we did follow just the bucket combinations, we could have got on someone like Taylor Montgomery. I mean, really anyone that's a last week one. Maybe we have Billy Horschel, Joaquin Neiman. We would have to have Jason Day. Yeah, never mind. So we couldn't do Billy Horschel. It was Taylor Montgomery. We needed a 6K that was a last week one. So there's nobody that fits that mold. It was Taylor Montgomery or bust. So we could have went like this. These three golfers together. Jason Day had to be added because he just fits so many buckets. And we're left with 14,500. So a couple low 7Ks? Is that what we could do? Could we go here and then I could do somebody for $6,700. So that works. Going like a Pat Perez. So we could have gone to Billy Horschel. And we would add that, but we couldn't go to Joaquin Neiman. That's right. So it's like it's Billy Horschel or it's Joaquin Neiman. Obviously, we're going to go Joaquin Neiman. And then we needed a 6K that was low price. Or we don't go Jason Day and we find another last year 2, which was Billy Horschel. Okay, so Billy Horschel could have fit that role because that's why we picked Jason Day was the last year 2. So Billy Horschel was that guy. And then you could go Pat Perez. That's 50,000 on the button. Anyways. All right, enough of that. Congratulations to Shot Like Harden for winning the $20 this week. We finally hit 275. Next week's goal is 285. And that's all I have. We'll have a preview out tomorrow for the AT&T Pebble Beach Pro-Am, which is going to be a 3-course rotation, which is a nightmare. But be on the lookout for that. New content or new giveaway. So if you're all new, all you gotta do is participate, comment in the videos, and you'll get free entries as long as you're subscribed. and maybe you can win $10 or $20. It's going to go to $10 next week, and we'll continue doing that. We'll have shorter goals that hopefully eventually we can get to bigger goals, and then we can do it for more money. But yep, that's all I have for you guys. So thank you guys for watching. Please leave a like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff, and I'll see you in the next one. All right, bye.